I have been walking this earth for 94 years, and I'm going to tell you something that might break your heart a little before it finally heals it. I want you to sit down, take a deep breath, and really listen to the words I'm about to speak. The secret to a long, beautiful, and peaceful life is not about what you start doing. It is not about a new diet or a new routine or some magic pill they sell on the television. It is about what you have the courage to stop doing. It is about the heavy, invisible chains you finally decide to drop. My name is Eleanor. In my 94 years, I have lived through wars, through depressions, and through more personal grief than any one soul should have to carry. I have buried my mother. I have buried my father. I have stood by the graves of 4 siblings. I have said goodbye to 2 husbands, and, God give me strength even now as I say it, I have buried a child. I have sat in more cold, sterile hospital waiting rooms, and I have stood shivering in front of more marble headstones than I care to count. I know the smell of a hospital hallway, and I know the deafening silence of an empty house. And because I have seen so much loss, I started noticing a pattern a long, long time ago. The people who left us too early, the ones who went into the ground with pain in their eyes and regret on their lips, they all had something in common. It was not just bad luck that took them. It was not just bad genetics. It was bad habits. They were holding on to things that were quietly killing them from the inside out, and they simply would not let go until it was too late. So, I am going to share with you the 9 things I stopped doing. I believe with every broken and mended piece of my heart that these 9 choices are the only reason my lungs still draw breath today. Please listen closely. Do not brush this off. Because one of these things might be quietly stealing your life right now, day by day, and you do not even realize it. Number 1, I stopped trying to please everybody. For the first 50 years of my life, I was the woman who carried everybody else's burdens. I was the mule for my entire town. If the church needed someone to organize the charity drive, Eleanor was there. If a neighbor needed a loan they would never pay back, I emptied my purse. If a distant relative needed someone to listen to them complain for 3 hours on the telephone, I held the receiver until my hand cramped. I thought I was being a good Christian woman. I thought I was being selfless. But really I was just bleeding myself dry. I was pouring from a cup that had been empty for years. When I was 60 years old, the bill for all that people-pleasing finally came due. I was in my kitchen, standing over the stove, baking 4 dozen pies for a community bake sale that I did not even want to participate in. Suddenly, my chest tightened like a vice. Pain shot down my left arm, and I collapsed onto the hard linoleum floor. It was a heart attack. I spent 5 days in that cold hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the machines beep. And do you know how many of those people came to visit me? Do you know how many of the people I had exhausted myself for bothered to bring me a flower or hold my hand? Not a single one. Saying yes to everybody else means saying no to your own soul. It is a slow, heartbreaking kind of death. You run yourself ragged trying to keep everyone else warm, and you freeze to death in the process. Now I say no. I say it kindly, I say it respectfully, but I firmly say no. I protect my energy like it is gold because it is. And I learned a hard truth. The people who truly love you will understand your boundaries. The ones who get angry when you say no, they were only loving what they could extract from you. Number 2, I stopped arguing with fools. My first husband, God rest his stubborn soul, was a fiercely proud man. He was a good provider, but he had a temper that could ignite dry wood. He would stand in the front yard and shout, until his face turned purple, arguing over politics or property lines with the neighbors. He just had to be right. He had to win the debate. He thought yielding was a sign of weakness. I remember the day like it was yesterday. It was a suffocatingly hot afternoon in July. He was 58 years old. A neighbor made a passing ignorant comment about the local elections. My husband marched over to the fence, his fists clenched, his voice booming. Right in the middle of a screaming match over a politician who did not even know his name, my husband stopped mid-sentence. His eyes rolled back, and he dropped to the grass like a stone. A blood vessel had burst in his brain. He was dead before the ambulance even turned onto our street. He died defending his pride over nothing. He did not change the neighbor's mind. He did not fix the world. All he did was leave me a widow. Now, when someone says something foolish to me, when someone tries to bait me into an argument, or when they speak out of pure ignorance, I do not engage. I close my eyes, I take a deep breath, I smile, and I walk away. I let them have their hollow victory. Protecting your peace of mind is not weakness, my dear. It is pure survival. Every argument you walk away from is another week added to your life. I promise you that. Let them be loud. You choose to be peaceful. Before I share the next one, I want to stop for just a moment and ask you something directly. Have you ever felt that terrible weight? Have you ever sacrificed your own health for someone who did not appreciate it, or let an argument steal your sleep? I want you to scroll down and share your story in the comments right now. Writing it out is the very first step to letting it go. I read the comments, and I promise you, sharing your pain helps to heal it. You are not alone. Tell us your story. Number 3, I stopped living in the past. Oh, I see this disease so much with people my age. You hear it all the time. Back in my day, things were better. Music was better, people were kinder, life was simpler. Let me tell you something about that phrase. That phrase is a wooden coffin. My cousin Clara refused to accept the changing world. When the world started moving faster, she dug her heels in. She hated new technology. She refused to buy a microwave. She hated the new music on the radio. She hated how the young people dressed and how they spoke. She believed the best days of humanity were behind her. Do you know what happened to Clara? She locked her doors and turned her house into a museum of ghosts. She covered her furniture in plastic, closed the curtains, and just sat in the dim light, complaining to herself. She faded away in her armchair, completely isolated, completely bitter, and completely alone. She died 20 years before her heart actually stopped beating. The world does not stop turning just because your legs are getting tired. The world moves forward. I bought my first touchscreen tablet when I turned 85. It took me 3 months to figure out how to turn it on without calling my grandson for help. But today I make video calls to my great-granddaughter who lives all the way in London. I get to see her messy face eating strawberries in real time. You have to keep learning. The moment you stop embracing today, the moment you decide the past is better than the present, your brain begins to shrink. Your spirit begins to wither. Embrace the new world. It belongs to you too. Number 4, I stopped holding grudges. This one took an ocean of tears to learn. When I was 40 years old, I had a best friend. We shared everything. We shared clothes. We shared recipes. We shared our deepest secrets. I trusted her with my life, and I trusted her with my money. We were starting a small business together, and she emptied our joint account and disappeared. She stole a decade of my hard-earned savings. I hated her with a fire that literally burned my chest. For 15 years, I woke up angry. I went to sleep angry. I replayed her betrayal in my mind every single day, and that boiling hatred turned into a bleeding ulcer in my stomach that almost killed me. I was losing weight. I was vomiting blood. I was in constant agony. Years later, a mutual acquaintance told me that my former friend had lost everything she owned in a terrible house fire. She was living in a shelter. I thought hearing that would make me happy. I thought revenge would taste sweet. But I felt nothing but a hollow, crushing exhaustion. I realized then that my grudge was not hurting her at all. It was only eating my own insides. I sat down at my kitchen table, my hands shaking, and I wrote her a letter. I told her I forgave her. I told her I released her from my judgment. I put a stamp on it, walked to the corner, and dropped it in the blue mailbox. I stood on that sidewalk and wept until I could not breathe. And when I stopped crying, I felt 100 pounds lighter. My ulcer stopped bleeding that very same month. Unforgiveness is like drinking rat poison and waiting for the rat to die. Let it go. Whoever hurt you, release them. Not because they deserve it, but because your body cannot heal while your heart is at war. Number 5, I stopped sitting so much. I'm not talking about buying a fancy membership to a gymnasium. I have never lifted a dumbbell in my life. I'm talking about fighting gravity. I'm talking about refusing to become part of the furniture. My neighbor Arthur was a hard-working man his whole life. He retired at 65, and his grand prize to himself was a massive plush leather recliner. He sank into that chair on a Monday, and it seemed like he never really got back up. He watched television from morning until night. By the time he was 68, the muscles in his legs had forgotten how to support his weight. He needed a walker just to get to the bathroom. By 70, because his blood was barely circulating, a massive clot formed in his stagnant legs, traveled straight to his lungs, and ended his life in seconds. Your physical body is a miracle of engineering, but it is exactly like a flowing river. If the river keeps rushing over the rocks, the water stays crystal clear and full of life. If the water stops moving and pools up, it becomes murky, stagnant, and breeds disease. I am 94 years old, and I sweep my own front porch every single morning. I bend down to pull the weeds in my garden. I stretch my arms up to the sky to feel the joints pop. I hang my own laundry on the line. If you are spending more hours of your day sitting down than you are standing up, you are rushing toward the grave. Stand up, walk to the window, move your arms, demand that your body remember it is still alive. Number 6, I stopped eating after the sun went down. We treat our bodies so incredibly poorly, do we not? We treat our bodies like trash cans instead of temples. For decades, I had a terrible habit. I would eat a heavy meat and potato supper at 7 o'clock, and then at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, while staring blankly at the television, I would bring out the snacks. I would eat a sleeve of crackers, a bowl of sugary ice cream, maybe a slice of leftover pie. It felt harmless. It felt like a little reward for a hard day. But I was waking up feeling like I had been hit by a freight train. My fingers were swollen and stiff. My joints were burning with inflammation. I felt a thick, muddy fog in my brain every morning, and a deep spiritual heaviness that I could not shake. Your body is designed to do its deepest, most miraculous healing in the dark while you sleep. It is supposed to repair your damaged cells, fight off rogue cancer cells, and clean out the toxins in your brain. But your body cannot do that sacred, life-saving work if it is spending all its energy digesting heavy fats and sugars all night long. You cannot clean the kitchen if you are still cooking the meal. I made a strict rule. My last bite of food hits my lips by 6:30 in the evening. After that, nothing passes my lips except pure water or a cup of warm chamomile tea. The first few days were hard. My stomach growled. But after a month, the mental fog lifted completely. The inflammation in my hands vanished. I woke up feeling 20 years younger, light, clear, and full of energy. Give your body the night off to heal you. Number 7. I stopped letting poison into my mind before bed. I am talking about the evening news. The 24-hour news cycle is a factory designed to produce terror. They do not want you informed. They want you terrified. They want you glued to the screen, watching wars, murders, political scandals, and natural disasters, while those red breaking news banners flash across the bottom of the screen. I used to watch it right up until I turned the lights out. I would go to bed with all that global tragedy, anger, and chaos swimming around in my head. I would have terrible nightmares. I would wake up in a cold sweat, my heart racing in the dark, feeling a sense of impending doom about a world I could not control. Listen to me. What you feed your mind in the 2 hours right before you sleep is what your soul chews on all night long. If you feed it fear, your body will bathe in stress hormones until morning. Now I turn the television off completely by 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I do not look at it again. Instead, I listen to soft instrumental music. I read a chapter of a gentle book. I sit by the window and listen to the crickets. I pray, and I list 3 things I am grateful for. I prepare my mind for rest, and because of that, I sleep like a baby for 8 solid hours. Protect your mind. It is the only place you truly have to live. Number 8. I stopped closing myself off to new people. When you get to be my age, losing people is just the brutal tax you pay for living a long time. Your phone book slowly becomes a list of ghosts. It hurts. It hurts so much that eventually you want to stop making new connections to avoid the pain of losing them. You say to yourself, I am too old to make new friends. My heart is full. I'm just going to stay home. That is the deadliest mistake you can ever make. When my second husband died, the silence in my house was so heavy it made my ears ring. I sat on my sofa for weeks, just staring at the wall, waiting to die of a broken heart. But loneliness is a physical disease. It rots your brain faster than dementia. It destroys your immune system. I knew if I stayed in that house, I would be dead in a year. So forcing myself through the grief, I walked down to the community center. I signed up for a gardening club filled with people who were 30 and 40 years younger than me. At first, I felt out of place, but soon my hands were in the dirt alongside theirs. We laughed. They told me about their modern dating problems, and I gave them advice from a lifetime of marriage. They injected me with their vibrant, chaotic, youthful energy, and I gave them my quiet, steady wisdom. Keep your door open to love. Do not isolate yourself. Go to the park, talk to the barista, join a club. Human connection is the medicine that keeps the heart beating. Number 9. And oh, I beg you to listen to this last one with everything you have. I stopped waiting to live. My first husband and I had a dream. We saved our pennies in a glass jar in the kitchen for 3 decades. We wanted to take a train ride across the country to see the redwood trees and the Pacific Ocean in California. It was all we talked about, but we always found an excuse to delay it. We said, next year, when the roof is paid for. Next year, when the grandchildren are a little older. Next year, when my back is not acting up. Always next year. The year we finally decided it was time. The year we finally went to the travel agent and bought the beautiful, expensive tickets, he started getting terrible headaches. We went to the doctor. It was an aggressive, inoperable brain tumor. He was gone before the first snow fell that winter. I had to clean out his belongings, and I found those train tickets sitting in his cedar drawer, completely useless. The trip of a lifetime stolen because we thought we had an endless supply of tomorrows. My voice trembles even now when I say it. Tomorrow is the most dangerous, convincing lie we tell ourselves. Tomorrow is a thief that steals your entire life. Do not wait. Whatever it is you are dreaming of doing, figure out a way to do it right now. Take the trip, even if you have to go cheap. Eat your dinner off the fancy china today. Do not save it for a special occasion, because being alive is the special occasion. Pick up the telephone and call that person and tell them you love them right now, with whatever breath you have left in your lungs. The right time is never in some imaginary perfect future. The right time is the exact second you have right now. So, there it is. 9 things I stopped doing. 9 heavy, suffocating stones I dropped by the side of the road so I could keep walking forward into the light. It is not complicated, but simple is not the same thing as easy. You have to wake up every single morning, look in the mirror, and actively choose your life. You have so much power inside of you, and you have time to change your story. But you only have that time if you stop doing the things that are constantly stealing it from you. I want to hear from you now. Please go to the comments right now and tell me your story. What are you going to stop doing today? What heavy burden are you finally going to put down after hearing this? Are you going to forgive someone? Are you going to stop waiting to take that trip? Tell me and tell the world, because your brave confession might be exactly the spark someone else needs to read to save their own life. Now, if you will excuse me, the air is crisp. I have a porch to sit on, and that evening sun is looking absolutely spectacular.